Meira soke mapekaisene kasine kasa. Welcome Soreda Beka Serenina Miaka to this amazing space of the heart. Soreda Beka Serenina Miaka, a portal of transformation and remembrance. Soreda Beka Meka Serenina Miaka, a portal through which you connect with yourself. Soreda Beka Serenina Miaka, a portal of you. Soreda Beka Serenina Miaka, a portal of remembrance. Welcome everybody. Happy Thursday. Morning, evenings, wherever you are in the world. It is really a beautiful day. I love to say that every day is a beautiful day, to be alive. And today, there is this message that came through a couple of weeks ago, and today as I was tuning in into the energies of what is meant to be shared today, then it just came, and it's something so deeply in the heart space, a remembrance that you're not separate from anybody that has ever had some kind of experience here in this planet, that you're not separate. Hello, Peter. You're not separate from anybody. And this really takes us back to that connection, to the energetic field of the web of connectors that behind the physical aspects of it all is just waves of energy moving and connecting and transforming and going this way and going this way, and it's always in this dance of life, the connectivity. And there's no really separations in between, this is me, this is you, this is them, and it's just here it is, the dance of life, the connectors, in that remembrance, this dance of life, this dance of the energies that is already within you, that has always been within you, even before you came into this physical form. And it will always be in some kind of way or another, even if it's a little different. And here it is, the access point of connecting. This is really beautiful, of connecting to that which you feel that is no longer here present, okay? This dance of energy, this move of energy within you and around you, is really the access point to connect with those who you believe are no longer present. Whether it is that they exit your life for some reason, or they actually just transition back into the energetics and they're no longer into the physical space, in the physical body, there's always there that energy, So the energy never dies, it just transforms. Everything is recorded. I'm sure you have heard about the Akashic records, right? So everything is recorded. There's not really one thing in life that is just okay, delete, how we can do so much in electronics and stuff. It's there. And that we can tune in into that. You can tune in into that whenever you choose to, for the highest version of yourself, for something that is bigger than what you feel is you. And this is how we tune in into the energies of the elders, into the energies of the elements, into the energies of any kind of version that you had of yourself, what we call past lives, right? They're in the fields somewhere. And you're having this personal experience right here, and let's call it this bubble, this sphere. But this sphere has billions of connectors to other fields that have some kind of guidance for you, have some kind of connection with you, right? So there's a lot of us that actually remember some past lives. And we say it's past life because it might look like it's something prior to 2022. In reality, that existence is also having its own little bubble. And there's you there, and that consciousness that is having that experience, and at the same time is having this experience, and at the same time is having this experience, right? Multidimensional beings, this is what it means. So when you are actually setting up your intentions, this is really amazing because the new moon just happened yesterday, but the energies are still present. So when you're actually calling forth this highest version of yourself that you can connect with, this version is already having its life somewhere, okay, in the energy field. So what you're doing right here, your own personal bubble, is actually consciously opening up the channel for that bubble so the bubble can merge, right? We talked about this a lot of times too. And here it is, when you can actually tune in into the wisdom of you somewhere else. The same thing you can do with anything else in your life, with any being. Where when I'm talking about beings, I'm not just talking about humans. I'm also talking about nature. I'm talking about plants. I'm talking about animals. I'm talking about trees. Can you imagine the wisdom of the trees that have witnessed so many years of the humans? Can you imagine the wisdom the trees carry? Wow. And that wisdom is already in you too. You know, you're not separate from the tree. As humans, there's this tendency to just be like, okay, we're humans, this is our little bubble, okay, that's it. And then, okay, you're a tree and you're a tree, you don't speak and you're a tree. Just like with like plants or anything. This communication is very important, you guys. This communication is very important. And let me tell you something, okay? When we miss, okay, when there's that part of a human that misses, it's normal. We're having a human experience. But it's again just going into that space of like, this is just what I am. And I'm missing this form because I believe this form is not equal as me. That is different than me. See the separation? When we miss something, it's because really we believe that that part, that aspect that we loved about somebody else or something else is not within us. So we're creating separation within our beings rather than unifying that field. And again, you know, it's definitely normal as humans. We all go through a mourning process because we like having these physical things to touch. We like to see something that we really love, you know? And let me tell you a story of how this came through. Last year, my puppy, she's my angel, like passed away. And it was horrible, you know? Mourning was horrible, but it was a powerful experience, a very powerful experience that broke like shells of my heart open again. And I'm very grateful that she was guiding me through all of this, and she had been preparing me energetically too. And then I was journaling a couple weeks ago and she came through. I was tuning into her field. And then she said to me, the moment that you accept that I'm not different than you, that I am you, is the moment that you'll stop missing me. And I was like, whoa. Talk about wisdom. Talk about wisdom. But of course we have to honor, you have to honor your phases, right? The phases of your humanness. And at the same time honor the other things. It's not that somebody's going to go through a mourning process and be laughing all the time. But then there's that connector, you know, that connects you into the deeper essence of that energy that is happening. And through that, you go back into oneness with whoever it is that is departing or has departed. With that, there's such a big opening that gets within you, that happens within you to truly just be and listen and listen. And I'm not talking about the ears, I'm talking about the energy field, to pay attention, to really connect with this being even more than you connected in this plane. Because the energies don't have limits. The energies don't have limits. In a way, you know, we kind of have some kind of limits because of the physical. But here is a bigger access point of developing more communication, more subtle communication. The subtle communication is what happens all around you, all around you. You might feel or believe that there's nothing in between my physical body and the screen. But there's so much happening right here. This, the in-between space, is also what connects you to the words, what connects you to the space in between words, where the energy travels and chooses where it really is going to penetrate your being to access you and remember something, for you to remember something. How powerful is this space? And a lot of times we don't honor this space, you know? And this space, it has so much wisdom because, again, it's you. Right? So you have your physical body, but in the space between you and somebody else, you and words, there is the wisdom that you have called forth and said, I'm willing to remember this now. I'm ready to remember this now. So as the transmission happens, this this communication, the in-between space, is the one that decides how it will dance and how it will lead and enter your being. This happens all the time. And now it happens in a way, it can happen very, very deeply when you are in your physical space and you're connecting with something or someone that is not around you physically. Because then this being is not defined by the physicality. And then the field of that being, the energy of the being is vast and is everywhere. That doesn't mean that we cannot do this with people, you know? But again, when you're having a personal experience as a human, you know, there's two humans. So they're more into like, okay, I'm a human, you know, and then I have all this like, I almost said it in Spanish, dones, like these gifts, you know, and there's the other human, and like, I'm this human, I also have these gifts, but it's kind of like going like this, right? And so there's the energy kind of vacillates a little bit. But so if there's only one that is having a physical experience, you know, it might go like this at times, but this space is not shifting. This space is just everywhere, and it's constantly sending you those messages for you to pay attention, for you to listen to the actual answers of the questions that you have been asking. This is why it's so beautiful when you begin to open up your channels. You know, so what I'm hearing right now is that normally we believe that in order to connect with what we call higher realms or other beings is just to the upper chakras. But in reality, you can connect through anything. You can connect through anything. This is why at times when we're missing somebody, right, that it was a person or a being that we really connect with deeply, we feel it in the heart space, because there was a connector from this being to you, from the heart to heart, and there was a link that opened up, a link that just got really strong. And this is where the energy travels. If it's somebody that you connect to very deeply, physically, in the form of actually having intercourse, then maybe you will feel in the womb. And so your body is like an antenna that it doesn't just go like this. It goes in every single direction. Again, remember going back into like your little sphere. That is not little. I'm just calling it little because it's cute. Your sphere, okay? There's your sphere. And your sphere is has billions of connectors everywhere that connects to other fields, whether it's some kind of version of yourself, the elders, trees, whatever, you know, other dimensions. So in order to truly access all these fields, you must be in your centerness. You must accept yourself fully as you are. That doesn't mean that if you have these moments of your life that you doubt your journey, that you will not tune in into that, okay? Again, we're having a human experience. Be gentle with yourself. Have compassion with yourself, all right? You're breaking so many codes in your system. You're breaking so many codes in your system. So many years in this human experience, fingers were pointed at us, or fingers were just like, words were said that were just like really nasty, you know? So again, being that you're a library of experiences of so many people that walked in your lineage to open up the space for you to be here, whatever was said to them in a way is also being carried in your body, okay? In your field. This is why at times it can be very challenging to disrupt something. And I truly believe that this is what we came here to do, to create a destruction in order to awaken even more and more and more and more, okay? But so it's okay to go into the spaces of doubting at times, because at times it's actually the doubt of something that happened previously, knowing the present moment, that is just being released. Or at times you're carrying the doubt of like great grandfather. And it's coming up for you to be aware of it and for you to let it go, okay? I'm talking about, you know, the doubt that at times that you're just like, in a way, somewhat okay, and there's so much chaos in your field, and you just don't even believe in your own abilities to get out of the space. You don't believe in your own love. You don't believe in your own intuition. And you might receive all these messages and you think you're crazy in a way, you know? So when you are in that field, that those connectors to other like little bubbles, right? They're just kind of clogged, you know? They're just kind of clogged. See them as arteries, right? within our body. So like if arteries are closed, like how is the blood going to move around? How is the blood going to send some kind of message to something else, you know? At times it will just not happen, and then something will happen in the physical body that you don't feel good. So it's very similar to those kinds of things, right? So when I'm talking about centerness, I'm talking about you honoring your journey. It doesn't take away that at times it could be challenging, for sure, okay? But I'm talking about you honoring your journey and you being like, this is fucking hard, but I'm still doing it and I still love myself, you know? And I am still at it because I'm very good at what I do. And so here I am, you know, I go through these spaces. And then, you know, you honor freaking everything that comes through. You honor all that anger, you honor all the anxiety, you honor all the blissfulness, because you don't see that as separate of you. You don't see that as something that is bad. You see that as something that is empowering you. And I know we said this before, you know, but this is the way that you go back into that centerness within your being, you know, your own power, your own strength, that like inner source of you that just takes you into different places that at times you can't even fathom. The places within yourself when you feel that power inside of you and that strength that you don't even know where it came from. Well, it comes from that, from you being in the centerness, and it happens inside, okay? Inside, you're always in the centerness. In your own energetic field, you're always in the center. It's just as we go outwards and we come into this field of the physical, you know, it might feel a little clogged because, again, there's disturbance. When I'm talking about disturbance, I'm talking about all these conditions in life, and at the same time, what happened to your ancestors, to our ancestors, what happened in this planet, okay? But that, you know, that centerness can really pass through when you honor where you are. So imagine that, you know, there's that centerness of you that is just beyond powerful, and is there. And it's just like when you access this point, it's when you're in your shit, you know, when you're just there and you go for things and you know this is what I'm meant to do, and I'm here and I go for it, and there's this fire inside of me that guides me, and at times I just don't even know, I'm just in awe. Okay, so that inside of you that is always there, sending you this energy and really holding space for your own transformation with this pulsation, you know, when you really tune in into that, when you say yes to yourself, this is when that pulsation penetrates to any of the clouds that are outside, any of these barriers, including the barriers of the mind, including the barriers of conditions, you know, that has happened in the planet that you have been carrying. Like it really penetrates for that to come and to be in this present moment with you and your present consciousness. And there is the link. When you feel it, you know, when you feel it in your present moment, and you're like, here it is, and you welcome it. And that is really like, do you feel that space in the heart? Because it's really powerful right now. And that is really when you become in communication with that inner centerness of you in the present moment through this centerness, okay? And that centerness, that is when you can tune in to anything you want to tune in. That's when the guidance comes in so powerfully. That is when there is no doubt whatsoever that yes, you're having this human experience, but you are beyond this physicality and you are everything. And then any kind of message that you receive, you know inside of you, yes, this is it. There's no doubt, because again, you're not, in that moment, you're not the human being. In that moment, you're everything. In that moment, you're all the energies. In that moment, you are the angels. In that moment, you're nature. In that moment, you're the sun. In that moment, you're the moon. Like, see what I mean? There's no separation, oneness. This is it. That is it. So in that space, that I'm quite certain that you experience this space throughout your life, you know, and maybe even now, so as you're really tuning in and honing into what it means to be you and to have this experience. When you are in the space, you can just send me these messages tuning in into like, okay, what is that version of myself that has already become this wonderful, who knows, wife, if you wanted to become the wife, or like this person that is leading workshops or whatever, you know, whatever it is that you have been tuning into, what it is that you have been calling forth in this present reality, and you tune in into that, and you open up those links. So then that version of yourself freaking holds you. It holds you and it guides you through all the challenges in order to get there. This is when manifestation happens in the physical plane. When that connector is like, whew, and then the messages that you receive is not like, you don't have any doubts. It's just like, yeah. And at times maybe it's like, wow, I didn't even think I could do this kind of stuff. But then the communication is open and the guidance is there. And that part of you is holding you. And the part of you saying like, yes, 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 manifestation. This is one of the keys of manifestation in the energetic field. So the same thing you can do with nature. This is why nature is so powerful. Because when we actually be in stillness in nature, when you're looking at a tree and you're just looking and open and observe with your totality, okay? With your totality. I'm not talking about just like being with your eyes, you know, like it's just you are being there with all your senses. This is when another remembrance happens, because nature, the mother, she knows how to hold you. She's been holding you all along. So in that space, because you're safe, you're immediately go back into the centerness. You know, you immediately, all those clouds go like, whoo, and then you go back into that. And this is, again, that space where there's so much subtle communication. When you can look at a branch or a leaf that is just moving around and you understand what the leaf is telling you. Because, again, there's no separation between the physicality of the leaf or the tree and your own physicality. The space in between you and the tree, it was just there, and you merge, and you are submerged in that space, and the communication is just going like that, and you feel it. You know, this is why nature, it feels like very activating, and at the same time, it just cleanses like a reset, you know, because it is a reset. You're going back again into you. You're going back into it. You're going back into that energetic field. And that is when another big activation happens, because then when that happens, and it continues to happen, you know, there's again no more separation in your field. So if there are clouds around that centerness of you, you know, the true essence of you, if those clouds were very thick before that, when you have one of those experiences, they're not that thick anymore, because then it became an experience, it became a wisdom. So it's not longer the story that somebody else told you or you read somewhere else. It's you. You know, your own experience. So the clouds begin to be thinner and thinner and thinner, and maybe even just going away, because again, you're seeing, you know, you have the sight. And again, not this sight, the sight of the eye, the sight of the heart, the sight of the solar plexus, the sight of everything in you. Because again, you are merging in this field, in the in-between space. There's no longer a separation in the physical, because you know you're more than the physical. And in this space in between, this is where really deep communications happen. In that space, you can really just pay attention and receive so much wisdom. And it's not like about really receiving, you know? It's about remembering the wisdom. And that example, the wisdom of the trees, the wisdom of the wind, the wisdom of a subtle movement in a leaf. There is so much communication that happens in this space, you guys, in that in-between, that is so much deeper than the space of the physical, okay? So again, a really powerful example is this, you know? You're seeing my physical body, you're hearing my words, but this in-between space is the one that has been decided by you, by your own consciousness and the consciousness of life. What will support you more in your journey right here, right now, in this present moment? And that intelligence is the one that moves and goes wherever it needs to go within you, okay? to remember, to activate something in you. And it's like, it feels so much in the heart and a little bit above the diaphragm. In the heart space, of course, you know, is one of like such a big portal to transformation. Because again, everything in life just loves itself. This is one of the reasons where when we stop fighting who we are, when you stop fighting who you are, when you stop fighting like how you look, like how you speak, how you express yourself, you know, and you go back into like loving yourself and accepting yourself, this is why so many big awakenings happened. Because life itself loves everything. It's always dancing, you know? It's always dancing. This is one of the beautiful things about Shiva. You know, when Shiva figured out all these things, so it just came through him. He was just dancing in the Himalayas, like, you know, completely blissed out. And this is what he taught. You know, this is what he taught. This is also said how Kundalini Yoga came to be. You know, because in the Himalayas, he just received all these messages and he tuned in into those teachings, and then he was just blissed out, dancing all around, and people were like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Teach me. And he wouldn't teach anybody else. He taught his wife, you know? But then after that, he knew there was like something. And afterwards, you know, he opened up to that experience. But that experience is you. That experience is you. That dance of life. You know, the space in between anything, that communication that is happening, that dance that is happening that you might not see, that you might perceive, is there. And it happens inside of you all the time. All the time. This is why I say, like we say about opening up the communication within your system. Because they all dance around. They all have this beautiful communication and this beautiful way of expressing. They all do. Everything in you does. And so imagine, you know, if I always give this kind of example with an inner child, because sometimes it's easier to tune in into that and understand a little bit more of your system, you know? So imagine, you know, that you have a child, or you can think about your inner child, and the child is so excited and just want to play and want to share something with you, and it's just like in that kind of mode, and you're like, no, like, go away. You know, so immediately it's gonna be like, oh, like, ouch, you know, that hurts. And who knows, maybe like in an actual like physical point of view in a family, that might create some kind of trauma in the child, you know. It definitely happened to me. but inside your being, you know, that's pretty much at times what we do, you know. That something is really excited to like share something with you, and this happens honestly when you're integrating, when you're going through a process, when you're going through a release. Inside of you there's that excitement. There's that excitement of telling you something, just kind of like the inner child, you know, like, ooh, let me tell you, this does not vibrate with you anymore. Oh my gosh, we're going to integrate it, and then we're going to go back into our balance state, and then we can hear all these things too and feel and whatever it is, you know. And here we go, like the human that knows that, or feels that it knows best. It's like, no. But this happens, you guys. This happens when you're releasing. Because there's that excitement within you that says like, oh my gosh, yes, finally. You know, we can put this at peace because now we understand, like inside of you, it's just like, ooh, we get it. We get it. So we can integrate this. And then we can be more in love with ourselves. See? Why it's so important to honor the space that you're in as you're releasing, and honoring what is coming out, and accept it and love it and embrace it, and take care of yourself, of course, which I just released a podcast yesterday about taking care of yourself, how to take care of yourself during releases, because it's so important, you know. But this is what is happening. This is what is happening. It's so amazing. It's so amazing. So that next time that something like that happens, tune in into that excitement within you, you know? And I totally get it. At times when we're releasing, it's like, oh crap, you know? But when we go into, even if we're in the state of like, oh crap, just be like, okay, thank you. Okay, there's an excitement somewhere in my body and I might not really feel it right now, but once you go through that in-between space, then you can actually feel it. And remember, you're so supported. You're so supported, and this is what I totally like love about this experience, because the more that we go into those spaces, is the more that we realize how supported we have always been, how connected we have always been. And that separation that you have experienced, who knows, maybe a couple years ago, maybe almost through your entire existence, it was only to lead you back into the oneness. Because if you had not known the separation, how would you know the actual oneness? You know, like, how would you know about happiness, how happiness feels like if you don't feel sadness? It's so powerful. It's so powerful. So feel that, you know, feel that within you and allow that to like break through any barriers that are there. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's powerful to be vulnerable. Can you imagine if like there will be more people, especially those people that believe they're in power, you know, like politicians kind of deal, if they were vulnerable and there will be no like facades, you know, we can see that beyond that physicality, there's something divine speaking, which there is, you know, there's always something divine speaking, but is do we let that speak through us or not, right? So in this space, there's divinity coming through. And there's now this consciousness, as how you might know me as Rukmani. There's something so much deeper coming through every time that I put the camera on. Because I know, you know, my work here is to help you remember, to guide you, to somehow like have that tiny little activation in this in-between space for you to remember. For you to remember. For you to have the most wonderful experience yet in your life every single day, and not feel alone, not feel crazy, you know, just feel like something else has your back, like it's always had, like it's always had. Wow, the space in the heart is so powerful, you guys, and it's so beautiful. So beautiful. So feel this, you know, feel this, because there's just like that in-between space is just like, whoa. Yeah, I totally did have the chills too as these things are coming through. And yeah. Wow. So as this is still coming, because these energies are still flowing and still like transmitting something in your system, you know, just welcome it, right? Just welcome it. See where that takes you. Sometimes like one little word that is spoken out loud has such a big impact, and again it's because not necessarily the word itself, but what is happening in the in-between space. So beautiful, so beautiful. Yeah. And in the space, as this is still transmitting to you, I want to invite you to click on the link in my bio. You know, I'm running to be the Yoga Warrior of 2022, which is the one that wins gets featured in Yoga Journal and also wins $10,000. With those $10,000, I plan on setting up a nonprofit organization to help people through their awakening process, especially those that don't have the means. You know, there's a lot of brothers and sisters that don't have the means to pay, or they don't even know what is happening within themselves. And to me, that is something that has been calling in my system, in my field, because I myself years ago was struggling how to pay rent. And meanwhile, still going through this huge trances and trying to figure out how to be in the balanced state, you know, not just like the human being and not just a superhuman, but just there, like both at the same time. And so the link is in my bio. That voting starts on March 15, but I'm just spreading the word. So help me spread the word. That will be very helpful to you. Wow, you guys, I just wanna honor this space right now and just do like a little transmission in light language, because there's so much that's just like especially in the side of the feminine, okay? So just swim like in the ocean with the waves. And move with the waves as you're becoming the waves. And feel the space of joy as you're flowing like water. Flowing like water. In the space, you're just going. You're not stuck. And you see everything in awe. And you welcome it. Because you know it's an aspect of yourself. Oh, how beautiful. This reminds me as well that if you like to get daily light language messages Monday through Friday, you can join my Telegram group. The link is in my bio. And every day, started yesterday, new moon, how amazing is that? I'm sending, like a light language message. So feel free to sign up. It's free, of course. You just join Telegram. So, amazing, amazing, amazing. Well, you guys. How beautiful, how beautiful. Enjoy your life. Enjoy you. Enjoy the space, be curious about the space and what happens in the space with you. Try it out. It's in our abilities. Why not? Why not? This is what I say anyway. Why not? And there's I think there's something else. Ooh. There was something just coming through, so well, I'll wait that till I come back. On the full moon, so every new moon and full moon I do a different class. And then on the full moon I do a cacao ceremony in South Healing. On the new moon it's a Kundalini yoga practice. And so the next full moon is on the 18th, just a Friday. And it will be a more special one because not only will be online but also be leading it here. And it's all about your own activation, just celebration of you, like the declaration of like, this is me and I'm welcoming myself every single day. And I'm excited. I'm really excited when I received the message of how to do it, I was like, wow, okay. I'm so ready to hold space for everybody that will come. So I will put the link soon. It will be in my profile too, And okay, so we talked about this last time about the diaphragm. That space is also one of the most forgotten spaces. Okay, so your diaphragm, as I had said this past Monday, it's also a portal where the lower triangles and the upper triangles meet, right? And your Merkaba begins to move, right? So tune into that space and open up the communication. Because now that these teachings came through about the in-between spaces, maybe something in you actually remembered how to tune into that, And so the diaphragm is very powerful. See, everything in you is very powerful, but they all have different ways of tuning in more into a deeper truth, into more you. So yeah, you're so welcome. Okay, all right. Thank you guys. I always love coming into this space and see what comes through and be in this space with you, because again, even though there is this screens in between, right, there's actually nothing in between. It's just that field, and this is why we connect. How powerful is that? So remember that next time, even if you are having a video call with somebody that is in a different country, there is this thing that like we're so separated, we're just talking in between screens or from screen to screen, but really there's no separation. There's no separation, and there's just that oneness in that field that allows you to remember that. So, so much love, so much love. I'm here for you if you are looking to have guidance in your journey, be my honor to have a chat with you. If not, we'll be here. Always connected. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your Thursday. Have a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you soon. Ciao, please.